CompTIA Cloud Plus sits in a useful middle ground for people who already understand the basics of infrastructure and are now being asked to make it all work in the cloud. This narration is part of the Monday Certified feature from Bare Metal Cyber Magazine, and it is designed to give you a clear, practical sense of what this certification covers, who it fits, how the exam really behaves, and where it can take your career. Instead of focusing on a single vendor's platform, Cloud Plus is about the patterns behind modern cloud environments and the way compute, storage, networking, and security come together in real systems.
If this certification is on your study list, a free and complete audio course is available in the Bare Metal Cyber Academy at baremetalcyber.com, complete with a study guide and a second ebook featuring 1,000 flashcard questions.
At its core, CLUD Plus is a technical, hands-on certification. It is not aimed at executives or policy-only roles, and it does not assume you want to become a full-time software developer. It speaks to people who manage servers, tune networks, handle virtual machines, and are starting to deal with hybrid environments, where some workloads live in a data center and others live in public cloud. If you spend your days making sure systems actually stay up, run fast enough, and stay reasonably secure, this certification lines up with the work you already know.
The certification comes from CompTIA, which has built its reputation on vendor-neutral, job-focused credentials. Many hiring managers already recognize names like A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus, even if they are not cloud specialists. When they see Cloud Plus, they often read it as, "This person understands infrastructure and can apply that understanding in cloud contexts." CompTIA builds its exams by talking to employers, reviewing job roles, and watching how technology shifts over time, so the content tends to follow what practitioners really do, rather than what product marketing might say.
Because CompTIA has been around for decades, it also brings a certain level of trust and stability. Organizations know that its exams are updated on a regular cadence, and that the content does not stand still while technology moves on. For Cloud Plus, that means you can expect the exam to reflect patterns like automation, containerization, and multi-cloud connectivity, not only classic virtual machines and simple lift and shift migrations. CompTIA also runs a continuing education program, so once you earn the certification, you can keep it active by building new skills, taking related certifications, and participating in approved activities.
From your perspective as a candidate, Cloud Plus is a vendor-neutral way to prove that you understand cloud infrastructure beyond a single platform. Many people take provider-specific exams first and then realize that they are missing the bigger picture of how designs and trade-offs carry across providers. With Cloud Plus, the focus stays on the architectural and operational patterns that show up whether you are working in one public cloud, several, or a hybrid environment that still leans on on-premises systems.
In terms of who fits this certification best, think about roles that live close to the technology. System administrators who used to spend most of their time racking servers and managing hypervisors now find that new workloads are born in the cloud. Network administrators who understood routing and switching inside a building now need to extend those skills into virtual networks and secure tunnels. Junior cloud engineers and infrastructure specialists are often given tasks like spin up a new environment, help move this application, or find out why this workload is slow. For all of those people, Cloud Plus maps closely to their daily responsibilities. Cloud Plus often feels like a bridge certification. On one side, you have foundational credentials that cover general networking or security, along with your early work experience. On the other side, you have deeper, more specialized paths, cloud architect tracks, automation and infrastructure as code, or advanced security and compliance in the cloud. This certification helps you move from the first side to the second in a structured way, proving that you can think in terms of cloud architectures without losing the practical touch you gained in traditional infrastructure work. The exam itself is built around domains that mirror how organizations plan, build, and operate cloud environments. You will see content on planning and architecture, deploying workloads,
managing resources over time, securing data and systems, and troubleshooting when things do not go as expected. Instead of just asking you to remember definitions, the exam often puts you inside small scenarios. A question might describe a performance issue, show you a diagram or a snippet of metrics, and then ask what you would adjust. Another question might give you a business requirement and ask you to choose the most appropriate storage or network design. Because of that scenario style, Cloud Plus rewards applied understanding more than pure memorization. You do need to know terms and concepts, but the real test is whether you can connect them in a way that makes sense for availability, performance, cost, and security. You might be asked to recognize a misconfigured security group, choose a better design for a multi-tier application, or pick the most effective step when troubleshooting a connectivity problem. The questions often blend several topics together, so it helps to think about systems as a whole rather than isolated parts.
A common misconception is that this exam is mostly about memorizing the names of services from one or two big cloud providers. In reality, the exam treats those provider-specific terms as examples, not the main goal. What matters is whether you understand building blocks like virtual networks, load balancers, object storage, block storage, encryption, and identity controls, and whether you can use them to solve problems. If the label changes but the concept stays the same, you should still be able to reason your way to a solid answer.
Another misconception is that Cloud Plus is a very basic, entry-level cloud exam. While it is accessible, it assumes that you already know the essentials of networking, virtualization, operating systems, and basic security. If you have never worked with subnets, routing, access controls, or virtual machines, many questions will feel difficult and abstract. On the other hand, if you have that foundation and have touched cloud environments at least a little, the scenarios will feel more like an extension of what you already do.
To prepare effectively, it helps to treat your study plan as a series of phases instead of a single block of effort. One sensible approach is to start by refreshing your core fundamentals with a cloud lens. Go back over networking concepts like subnets, VLANs, and routing, virtualization concepts like hypervisors and resource pools, and basic security ideas around access control, encryption, and logging. As you review, ask how each idea shows up in cloud environments and in hybrid setups that mix on-premises and cloud-based resources.
Once you have refreshed the fundamentals, move into cloud-specific architectures. Spend time understanding virtual networks and how they connect back to on-premises environments. Load balancing strategies, the differences between object and block storage, and the ways auto-scaling helps match resources to demand. If you have access to any cloud sandboxes, lab environments, or free tiers, use them to build small test scenarios. Deploy a simple application, monitor its performance, adjust its resources, and watch what changes. Break things on purpose and then fix them, because that kind of practice builds deep intuition that exam questions will tap.
After you have a solid feel for the concepts and some hands-on experience, shift into a phase focused on question practice and exam mechanics. Work through practice questions in timed blocks so that you get a sense of pacing. Each time you review your answers, pay close attention to the reasoning behind the correct choices. Do not just memorize which option was right, understand why it was right, given the scenario. Notice patterns in the kinds of mistakes you make, whether they relate to misreading details, underestimating security risks, or overlooking a cost or performance trade-off.
As your exam date approaches, fine-tune your strategy for the day itself. The Cloud Plus exam tends to include a mix of traditional multiple-choice questions and performance-style items, where you interpret output or work through a more involved scenario. You will rarely have enough time to agonize over a single question, so practice moving on when you are stuck and coming back later if time allows. Develop a simple process for reading questions carefully, identifying the key facts, eliminating clearly wrong options, and then choosing the best remaining answer.
Throughout your preparation, the Bare Metal Cyber Audio Academy course for this certification can act as a flexible companion.
Short, focused audio lessons let you reinforce concepts while you drive, walk, or work out, and they are especially helpful for revisiting topics you find difficult. Hearing ideas explained in different ways, with emphasis on real patterns and trade-offs, makes it easier to recall them when an exam question puts you under time pressure. You can also use audio to preview new topics before you sit down at a desk for deeper study.
From a career standpoint, Cloud Plus is most valuable for people working in or targeting hands-on roles that sit between traditional infrastructure and full cloud engineering. Typical job titles include Systems Administrator, Cloud Administrator, Junior Cloud Engineer, Infrastructure Specialist, and Early-Stage DevOps or Site Reliability Engineer. In organizations that are actively migrating workloads to the cloud, the certification helps signal that you can operate in both the old and new worlds, instead of being locked into only the data center or only a single cloud platform.
Hiring managers often view CLUT Plus as a sign that you are serious about your technical growth and that you can contribute to discussions about how systems should be designed and supported. The certificate does not claim that you are a senior architect, but it suggests that you can read diagrams, understand dependencies, interpret monitoring data, and carry out the practical steps needed to keep environments healthy. When combined with real experience, it can help set you apart from candidates who only have high-level cloud fundamentals or narrow single-platform badges.
In a broader certification pathway, Cloud Plus usually comes after foundational credentials and before deeper specialization. One common sequence is Network Plus, then Security Plus, followed by Cloud Plus, and then an associate-level cloud certification from a major provider, or a credential focused on automation and infrastructure as code. If your interests lean more towards security governance or audit, you might instead pair Cloud Plus with management or compliance certifications later on. If your goal is to focus purely on one provider or move into development-heavy roles, you might choose platform-specific or developer certifications, but the vendor-neutral view you gain from Cloud Plus will still serve you well.
In the end, CompTIA Cloud Plus, Cloud Plus, tends to make the most sense for early to mid-career professionals who already understand the basics of infrastructure and want to prove they can apply that knowledge in modern cloud environments. It shines when you are close to the technology, responsible for keeping workloads available, performant, and secure across public and private platforms. If the exam scenarios sound a lot like the real problems you see at work, the certification is likely to feel like a natural step rather than an artificial hurdle.
As you move toward your exam date, try to build a study rhythm that fits your life instead of fighting it. Use focused blocks of time for reading, labs, and question practice, and then use the Bare Metal Cyber Audio Academy course to keep reinforcing the same ideas whenever you have pockets of time. That steady, layered approach is often what turns knowledge into confidence. When you walk into the exam room, you want the questions to feel like slightly sharpened versions of challenges you have already solved in your own study and work.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.